On this Sunday night, flood watch in Alberta and BC. Melting snow and heavy rain are creating dangerous conditions.
With the river rising, the banks aren't where they used to be.
What's in the forecast? A hard turn to the right on the left coast.
I'm fighting for nothing less than the future of British Columbia, our way of life.
BC's Conservative opposition elects a new leader, setting the stage for conflict on both sides of the aisle. From concert to potentially cancelled, what the U.S. president is planning instead of the Freedom 250 celebration. And it's not the only upset he's facing. And saving the Snowbirds.
We've got concerns about the total loss of the specialized expertise that exists on the team.
The fight to keep the aerial acrobats in the air.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. As many communities across the country are dealing with the start of wildfire season, tensions are running high in southern Alberta and the interior of British Columbia after a very wet weekend. A melting snowpack and heavy rain have caused flooding in several communities, including Banff. And that is where Heather Yourex-West is tonight. Heather, there is no end to the anxiety in sight with more rain in the forecast.
Colleen, I'm standing near the Bow River here in Banff, Alberta, and you can see behind me, I just want to show you how high the river is running right now. Ordinarily, this is a pathway you can walk along, but it is currently submerged by water. And this is just one of a number of rivers that officials are concerned about across the region. In this tourist town, the swollen river is a hot photo op. But Banff fire officials warn the mighty Bow will be dangerous for the next few days.
With the river rising, the banks aren't where they used to be. So you don't really know how far you can go before suddenly there's nothing under your feet anymore.
So far, flooding within the town site has closed a local park and several trails, with the town laying out temporary tiger dams and sandbags around a few buildings near the river just in case.
Bit of a surprise, really, but everything's melting as well, isn't it? So it's the rain and the melt.
It happens every year. It's just some years are worse than others. And there's a lot of snowpack this year, so.
So you're not too concerned?
Not yet, no.
It just happened really quick, I found.
Yeah.
Limited space down at the bridge now to sunbathe around.
In southeast BC, flood watches have been issued with rivers rising. Evacuation alerts were in place Sunday for several communities, including dozens of homes in Fairmont Hot Springs, with flooding observed on the greens of a local golf course.
Well, the main weather feature that's generating all the rain is this low-pressure center in Montana, basically, moving into Saskatchewan and holding through Tuesday or even into Wednesday. So really, for warnings, there will be some rain in parts of Saskatchewan, but near the fires that have been burning, for example, not nearly as much rain there as we're going to continue to see in Alberta.
All of this bringing back some terrible memories from 2013 when flooding devastated this region. Officials are not expecting that scale of disaster to take place again this year. But with 100 millimeters expected to fall between now and Wednesday morning, the situation does continue to evolve. Colleen?
Heather Yourex-West in Banff, Alberta. Thanks, Heather. The BC Conservatives, the province's official opposition, have elected a new leader.
Ladies and gentlemen, your next leader and Premier of British Columbia, Kerry-Lynne Findlay.
Former Conservative MP Kerry-Lynne Findlay won the tight race last night with just 51% of the vote. In her acceptance speech, Findlay said she wants people now and for generations to come to feel they can have happy and comfortable lives as British Columbians, focusing on faith and family. She's also promising to restore BC as an economic powerhouse in Canada.
Mine is a grand vision of fundamental change. Our homes, our individual rights, our properties are at stake. We need hope and prosperity.
Findlay's win comes at a pivotal time, with the BC Conservatives holding a 10-point approval rating lead over the governing BC NDP. Global BC's Legislative Bureau Chief Keith Baldrey joins us now. Keith, this outcome took a lot of people by surprise.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Not considered part of the party establishment, Kerry-Lynne Findlay, even though she'd been an MP, very much an outsider here. The conventional wisdom that the other two candidates, Caroline Elliott and former BC Liberal Cabinet Minister Ian Black, seem to have the edge. But at the end of the day, it's all about signing up party members, and Findlay clearly shone there over the others. So a very close finish. Nevertheless, Kerry-Lynne Findlay, the new leader of the BC Conservative Party.
And now she won by a very narrow margin. Can she unite a clearly divided party?
Yeah, that remains to be seen. She won by 2 percentage points. This is still a very divided party, and it's going to be interesting. Can she hold the caucus together? Already 6 people have left the caucus, either being forced out or resigning. She says she's already brought 2 of them back, so perhaps she can heal some of the wounds there. But clearly, she has a rocky road ahead potentially if she can't heal the many divisions that exist in that caucus.
And Keith, what do you think this means for BC politics going forward?
Well, there's already talk perhaps another party could emerge here. Keep in mind the Conservative Party has not governed in British Columbia for almost 100 years. It's a relatively new brand. It remains to be seen whether it can get the hearts and minds of British Columbians enough to form a government in a general election. So the possibility remains another party could emerge here because Kerry-Lynne Findlay, very much part of the social conservative movement here in BC. And traditionally, that doesn't fare well on the provincial level come a provincial election.
All right, Keith Baldrey, thank you. The federal Conservative leader is calling for an emergency parliamentary debate on the state of Canada's economy. In a letter to Prime Minister Mark Carney, Pierre Poilievre blames him for taking the country into a recession. Stats Canada said Friday that the country's GDP fell slightly for the second quarter in a row, which meets the technical definition of a recession. But experts believe the declines are marginal, mostly due to U.S. tariffs, and don't signal a widespread downturn. Israeli troops have made their deepest incursion into Lebanon in more than a quarter century, despite a U.S.-brokered ceasefire. Smoke could be seen billowing from the 900-year-old Beaufort Castle in southern Lebanon today. Israeli forces captured the strategic mountaintop castle and raised the Israel and Golani Brigade flags on the structure. It follows days of intense fighting between Israeli troops and Iran-backed Hezbollah. Israeli forces now control large areas of southern Lebanon. There are concerns that incursion could challenge efforts to end the Iran war, as Tehran insists any deal must include an end to fighting in Lebanon. Meanwhile, U.S. officials are signaling an escalation in talks by presenting Tehran with a tougher proposal. Still, U.S. President Donald Trump says if an agreement can't be reached, the Department of War will step in. Iran's top negotiator says there will be no deal until the nation's rights are secured. For months, it's been billed as a massive celebration for the nation's 250th birthday, but plans are changing. As a growing number of performers opt out of the Great American State Fair, U.S. President Donald Trump is calling for it to be canceled and replaced with a rally featuring him instead. Candice Cole has the details.
U.S. President Donald Trump lashed out on social media after 5 of the 9 music acts slated to headline the Great American State Fair backed out of performing, including Bret Michaels, Martina McBride, and Young MC, who says it was thrust on him, not knowing it was a partisan event.
And then I'd love to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the country in a scenario where a significant portion of my fan base doesn't feel uncomfortable coming to the event. That was the thing. I want to celebrate with everyone.
In response, Trump blasted the performers on social media, calling them highly paid third-rate artists and suggesting he would replace them with none other than himself, opting for a giant Make America Great Again rally instead of having, quote, overpriced singers who no one wants to hear. He said it should be canceled, just like he canceled his involvement with trying to make the Kennedy Center great again. This after a federal judge blocked the closure of the Performing Arts Center for renovations and ordered Trump's name be removed from the building. News' Maria Shriver and Kerry Kennedy celebrated on their uncle John F. Kennedy's birthday Friday, whom the center is named after. But on CNN Sunday, Interior Secretary Doug Burgum defended the president's actions.
I'm not sure if that's going to be appealed or not. Issues with heating, ventilation, air conditioning, the HVAC systems needed massive repairs. And President Trump was willing to get out, raise private funds, dedicate his time as a master builder to restore this building. And now, a judge says no.
As Trump appears to be losing some battles with the American public, he's also fighting political ones within his own party, as Senate Republicans take him to task over his $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund, largely seen as a slush fund for January 6 rioters who raided the U.S. Capitol in 2021.
I mean, my God, do you see where this would head? These people don't deserve restitution. Many of them deserve to be in prison. This is just stupid on stilts.
The growing backlash resulting in even more posts by Trump, who went so far as to resurrect this decade-old post from 2016 to troll his own party. As Trump's approval rating continues to take a hit, now hovering around 34%, according to the latest polling by YouGov. Candice Cole, Global News, Washington.
The bodies of all 11 people killed in a pulp mill explosion in Washington state have now been recovered. 900,000 gallons of sodium hydroxide and sodium sulfide exploded at the facility on Tuesday in the city of Longview, north of Portland. 2 deaths were confirmed immediately following the incident. The search for the missing workers was carried out throughout the week. Chemicals from the blast spilled into the nearby Columbia River, but so far, officials say the drinking water and air quality appear to be safe. There were riots across France last night after Paris Saint-Germain's win in the Champions League final. More than 700 arrests were made as PSG supporters clashed with police in nearly a dozen cities. Fans set off fires and vandalized stores. One group even tried storming a Paris police station. Officials say more than 200 people were injured in the violence, including 57 police officers. Despite the unrest, planned celebrations still went ahead. The push to keep the Snowbirds in the air. Coming up, why former team members say there's no reason the iconic flying team can't keep performing until new planes are purchased. And how beluga whales are like us. Well, like some of us. A group of former Snowbirds pilots is lobbying to keep the team flying while the Carney government buys replacement planes, but they're not due for another 4 years. The Snowbirds alumni say the gap between their grounding in October and 2030 isn't necessary and will come at a big cost. Sonia Ali reports.
An integral part of Canada's aviation history for more than 55 years. The Snowbirds have performed thousands of shows across the country and around the world, becoming a symbol of Canadian pride for generations. But that could soon be put on pause. Earlier this month, the federal government announced the Snowbirds will be temporarily grounded after the 2026 season, while the team transitions to a new aircraft. Now, the Snowbirds Alumni Association has launched a campaign to keep the team flying through that transition.
We feel that having a pause would be very detrimental.
Maurice Carmichael says a lengthy pause could put at risk the experience, traditions, and momentum the team has built over decades. She says alternatives should be considered while the team transitions to its next aircraft.
We just saw the Royal Air Force Red Arrows, the UK's equivalent of the Snowbirds, have just announced that they're reducing from 9 airplanes to 7 for their aerobatic team while they're transitioning. So we really think that is certainly a great alternative for the Snowbirds as well.
The campaign, called No Pause, Keep the Snowbirds Flying, is calling for options that would allow the team to continue operating while preparations are made for its future aircraft platform.
We've got concerns about the loss, the total loss of the specialized expertise that exists on the team, especially the pilots and the technicians as well, and also the loss of the Canadian Armed Forces, most visible and effective public relations vehicle.
The Alumni Association has proposed keeping the Snowbirds flying until about 2030, including the possibility of operating with fewer aircrafts during that transition. The group is urging Canadians to contact their members of parliament and voice their support for keeping the Snowbirds in the sky until a replacement aircraft is ready. Sonia Ali, Global News.
Ahead, the research that shows beluga whales have self-awareness and the implications of that finding. A stunning result today for Canada in the bronze medal match at the Hockey World Championship in Switzerland. Norway pulled off a monumental upset, defeating Sidney Crosby, Macklin Celebrini, and the rest of the Canadian squad 3-2 in overtime. It's Norway's first ever medal in a top-tier international ice hockey tournament. The family of four-time Stanley Cup champion Claude Lemieux is donating his brain for CTE research. The Quebec native died by suicide on Thursday, just days after donning a Canadian's jersey and carrying the torch into Bell Centre. His loved ones said they have gifted his brain to the Unite Brain Bank at the Boston University CTE Center in the hopes his life can continue to help others. They also emphasize it's a gift to science, athletes, and future generations of families seeking answers. Lemieux played 21 seasons in the NHL with several teams, including the Montreal Canadiens, the New Jersey Devils, and Colorado Avalanche. He was just 60 years old. The ability to see ourselves has long been thought to be a trait limited to humans, but research has proven that is not the case. Several animal species have self-awareness. That small group now includes beluga whales, and as Turia Isri reports, a renowned BC whale biologist isn't surprised.
Natasha the beluga is putting on a show for her own entertainment, blowing bubbles, doing barrel rolls, and admiring her reflection.
And that's where the light bulb seems to go on when they figure it out. That's me.
Researchers set up a two-way mirror at the New York Aquarium, run by the Wildlife Conservation Society, to deepen their understanding of beluga whales. They observed Natasha and her daughter Maris displaying new behaviors, studying their marshmallow-like faces and inspecting their conical teeth, appearing to show self-awareness. Marine mammal scientist and cognitive psychologist Diana Reese has spent her career investigating highly cerebral animals.
We don't know the magic ingredients that goes into this, but the things that seem to correlate are, first of all, having a large brain relative to your body size.
Bottlenose dolphins are part of this exclusive club. Asian elephants can recognize themselves in the mirror. Magpies perceive themselves as well. And of course, so do great apes.
Scientists say the ability to recognize oneself is a unique trait in nature, typically found in species that are intelligent, social, and empathetic, like humans.
The findings come as no surprise to one of this country's leading beluga experts, whale biologist Valeria Vergara.
Every time we sort of uncover a new dimension of beluga cognition or social complexity, it raises the stakes for what we stand to lose if we don't protect them.
Canada is home to some of the largest beluga populations, including in the St. Lawrence, where they're endangered.
Ocean noise pollution, it interferes with this very rich and sophisticated communication system that is the glue of these really complex societies.
The hope that a better understanding of animal cognition could push humans to do more reflecting of their own. Turia Isri, Global News, Montreal.
Next, Pedal Pride. Thousands hit the streets of Montreal to celebrate cycling.
Yes, it's Marilyn Monroe arriving with her playwright husband, Arthur Miller.
A look back at the life and legacy of Marilyn Monroe just ahead of what would have been her 100th birthday. She was born Norma Jean Mortensen on June 1st, 1926 in Los Angeles. She rose from a childhood in foster homes to become one of the most recognizable movie stars in the world. She's best known for her 1950s films Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, How to Marry a Millionaire, and The 7-Year Itch. She died in August 1962 at the age of 36.
Very good at hockey.
The best, probably. Will we seeing each other or what?
Heated rivalry. The love story between two hockey players swept the Canadian Screen Awards last night, winning all 13 of its technical nominations. And it was a hat trick for Montreal-born creator Jacob Tierney, winning for Best Direction and Best Writing for the international smash hit, and for executive producing The Traitors Canada. Heated rivalry is up for more hardware tonight, including Best Drama Series and Best Lead Performer for Vancouver's own Hudson Williams. Montreal has a reputation for being one of the most bikeable cities in the world. It's taken to an extreme during the Tour de l'Île, an annual event where some of Montreal's busiest streets are taken over by thousands of cyclists. Felicia Perillo looks at the Tour's history and how it's bringing people back year after year.
At an hour when some are still reaching for their morning coffee, thousands of cyclists were already on the move. On Sunday, city streets normally filled with traffic became something entirely different.
Look, the thousands of people that come out for this event every year. It's a bit cold, it might rain a little later, but it doesn't deter everyone.
The Tour de l'Île has been rolling through Montreal for decades, drawing everyone from serious cyclists to passionate ones and young families.
There's nowhere else within a drive of us that closes down the streets and lets kids ride in the middle of the road, because that's crazy and awesome.
And while parents may be here for the experience, some riders have simpler motivations.
I like getting candy on the way.
This year's edition carries an Olympic theme, marking 50 years since the 1976 Games. Riders chose routes ranging from 30 to 90 kilometers, offering them a chance to roam around the city car-free.
People will go all over the city today, and they'll realize that maybe NDG is not as far from Parc Extension, but because when we travel by car or when we travel by metro, we don't necessarily realize that these neighborhoods are connected.
Though the event may be an inconvenience for drivers, those participating say it's a unique opportunity to come together and connect.
It's not about performing, it's not about anything else, it's just about being together and moving.
If the smiles are any indication of how the ride went, plenty of these cyclists will surely be back to do it all over again next year. Felicia Perillo, Global News, Montreal.
Looks like fun. And that's Global National for this Sunday night. I'm Colleen Christie. Tonight's Your Canada is the SS Keewatin in Kingston, Ontario. We love seeing Your Canada. Please keep emailing your photos to globalnational@globalnews.ca. Thanks for watching. Jeff Semple will be here with you tomorrow. Have a good night.